I am interpreting the very last part to this video. I did how you are felt. I did how you were seen, I did how you are heard, and this is going to be how you are understood. In my opinion, we can only understand others as far as we understand ourselves, and I think that others can only understand us as far as they can understand themselves. So, that being said, I want to interpret the intuitive messages that I get with the cards based on how whoever's watching this, how you're understood on a soul level, how your depths, it's such a difficult word for my brain to comprehend and my mouth to say, how your depths, it's good enough, are understood, and how your grace is understood, I'm hearing, as well, how your authenticity is understood. I'm going to get clarifiers for the ones that just came out and then show them to the camera because I am interested to see why some of these are here. Okay. Okay. One last one. Okay, that is going to go there. Okay. That is a beautiful energy to see. That also came out. Aha, that card wanted to come out again. Justice, the Tower. Dang, okay. We can only guacamole. Let's get started. Lord of Pentacles. Clarified by the Five of Pentacles reversed. How are you understood? For someone here who is watching this video, you could be understood as someone who holds on to control when they do not feel safe in their environment. You could also, for someone here, be understood as someone who has had to let go of a lot of baggage that they originally felt was their responsibility to carry, but once you realized that it wasn't, it took a lot of courage to let that go. You could also, for someone here, be understood as someone who reflects deeply before making personal, meaningful decisions, especially when it comes to your happiness and fulfillment, your abundance, your wealth, for someone. For others, your creativity, your imagination, for someone. The Star is also here. You're understood as someone deeply creative, for others, expressive, romantic. You're understood as someone deeply healing, someone who has deeply healed themselves, who has the capacity and has deeply healed others. You could be pursuing a field of healing work, whether that is spiritually or psychologically or medically or holistically, any other type of healing. You could be seen as someone who, you could be understood as someone worthy of pursuing fields like that, and you're also understood as someone who has a very bright light to shine in this world, someone with very unique qualities, someone with, I'm hearing put a little love in your heart, someone with so much love in their being that has the potential to shine outward so strongly, but maybe you could be understood as someone who has worked hard to begin to protect that, and maybe understood as someone who now has the courage to shine that light authentically and unapologetically after having let go of a lot of old baggage. You could be understood as someone who has had to let go of expectations and conditioning in regard to how you're perceived by others, in regard to how you show up in the world, in regard to how you creatively express yourself. You're understood as someone who recognized that they needed to let go of those things in order to express yourselves unapologetically, authentically. Hopefully that ended up making sense. What else was here? Seven of Wands. You're understood as someone who will protect your peace. Lukey shoes! Lukey shoes! You're understood as someone who will protect your peace and is unafraid for others, willing to set boundaries when that peace is put in danger, when that peace is threatened, when that peace is poked at. You're seen as someone who will protect yourself, who knows that you're worthy of protection, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And with the Tower here, you're understood as someone who has either built themselves from the ground up, someone who has made a name for themselves, for someone else, for someone here listening. You could be understood as someone who has had to knock down a lot of old foundations and create a lot of new ones. And this is understood as something deeply beautiful, meaningful, spiritual. You could be deeply understood as an inspiration to others, as a role model for others. And you're deeply, deeply understood as someone incredibly fair and just in regard to reciprocity through your relationships, in regard to what you now offer for yourself, what you bring to the table in environments. With the Justice card here, I'm going to pull one more. How are the people listening understood deeply at a soul level, at a heart level? Whoever clicked on this video, how are they understood? Page of Wands wants to come out again. Okay, the Magician is here. Alright, you are understood as someone who is learning well, first I'll say this, learning how to co-create their reality with your intuition. You're seen as someone who is actively creating the life that they want, actively going after their dreams. For someone else, you could be deeply understood as someone who is a student, a forever student, a student of life, and that is what you are creating for yourself through maybe travel, through pursuing your studies, through maybe becoming a teacher, pursuing education, to working in education to teach students. That is a personal example. What I have begun to do, I tell my students often, I learn just as much from them as much as they learn from me. That could be a message for someone as well. And you're understood as someone who finds community to be deeply important, someone who values understanding secure and healthy connections, and someone who understands the value in a mothering energy of nurturing, of closeness, of grounding, of creating positive change and new beginnings where you see fit and where others have expressed change is needed. That's really cool. There's one last message that was coming through. I'm trying to recall what it was. With the Empress here, noticing the trees. You're understood as someone who has done a lot of growth, who has done a lot of work to grow and evolve as a human, and understood as someone who has poured a lot of love into themselves after having poured a lot of love into others and having maybe not had that reciprocated back to them. What else am I seeing here? A lot of yellow. You're understood as someone who can inspire and empower others in a very impactful way because you have inspired and empowered yourself in very significant ways. There was one more message, I'm trying to remember what it was, but maybe it'll come back to me. You're understood as someone who has the potential to be incredibly patient with the world. And I guess what I mean by that, with the energy that I'm trying to interpret here, is that you could be understood as someone who is patient with how they want to create the change that they want to see in the world. And you're understood as someone who is willing to shift their perspectives and keep an open mind when it comes to creating new beginnings, when it comes to change and evolution. Yeah. You're understood as someone who looks forward, keeps it moving, and allows the past, where he's looking away from, to be used as a lesson and a guiding force when it comes to shifting perspectives so that it acts as a benefit to creating the future. I'm gonna leave that there. This was the last part of the 4-part series. How do I feel about this message? Not overwhelmed, just taken aback with how smoothly this energy was interpreted, but also how in some moments it felt clunky. I'm wondering if there's this energy right now for someone who's listening that you're starting to understand yourself more, and this is leading you to understand the world better, to understand your perceptions better. Or in a new way, in a different way. I guess better is incredibly subjective. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this here. Thank you so much for being here. If you are here, if you enjoy my energy, you're really cool. I'm kidding. Yeah, you're cool. And if you felt like you agreed with none of what I just said, but you watched the whole video anyway, you're also really cool. I will be making new videos soon, but very different from what I've usually done. I think this is the last video where I'm going to do the concept of how you are blank, because I want to branch out and do new things, because my ideas on tarot and spirituality are changing and shifting in what I consider to be very positive ways, and I want to be more creatively expressive in new ways and not just stick to the same thing in my videos. So if that interests you, stay tuned. I'll see y'all soon.